couple of weeks ago, my wife and I participated in a course in Kaggle called 5-Day GenAI Intensive Course with Google. We wanted to get up to speed with the latest development from Google and other companies in the area of generative AI. And we were really blown away by what we saw in the course and the capabilities of the technology. With that in mind, we decided to participate in the Capstone project, and I want to share with you the results of that exploration of the technology that we did with my wife. There is also some personal motivation about the topic that we picked for this Capstone project, and it is related to a particular disease that is called multiple myeloma. Over the past 2 or 3 years, I have been through the experience of being a caretaker for someone that has been going through this disease. Um, we g- uh, we got the experience of getting the news getting about the diagnosis and trying to understand the disease and all the changes that come in our lives because of that diagnosis. This is a uh, uh, blood or health bone marrow cancer. And actually, the reason why I put this screenshot here is not because I want to explain the disease to you, but because I want you to see the kind of uh, information that you will be facing when you try to look up information in Google about this disease. There are a lot of new terms, a lot of new information, and there is also a lot of scary information because as it is right now, this disease is not curable. There are several treatment alternatives, but there's no cure for it just yet. With that in mind, uh, we decided that it would be a good idea to take a look at what generative AI could do to help patients, and caretakers that are going through this moment. So what we did is that we created a multiple myeloma patient assistant that has three components. The first component is a guide or a chat that is intended for patients or caretakers to get more information about the disease and try to understand what the disease is about and ask questions about it. It is important, of course, to go to the physician and ask those questions. However, the physician is not always available. So using generative AI, we were able to take some documents that have real information and up-to-date information and put them into the system and instruct the system to only reply to questions about the content of those files and even to suggest to the users or the patients in this case um, the kind of questions that they can ask both to the tool and also to the physician that is seeing them. So that covers one point. Like there's one pain point is like you get the diagnosis and you don't actually know what to ask and don't actually know how to get the information in a easier to digest way. There's another pain point that we went through, and actually we were fortunate enough that uh, health the healthcare provider um, gave us an expedited way to keep track of our schedule and keep track of all the appointments and all the exams that we had to go through, or actually that the patient had to go through because I'm not the patient. But it gets overwhelming, and it's not is each time we went to an appointment with the physician, we end up coming up with three, four, five different appointments that we had to go through, and we had to go through to that physician every day. And then each time we went to a new specialist, we will get more exams and more tests to take. Uh, it gets overwhelming really, really quick. So we were fortunate again to get that service and be able to get those appointments figured out for us in a in a really convenient fashion. However, that's a luxury, and we would like to extend that luxury to more people. So what we did is that we created an appointment scheduler agent that can take the orders, even the images of the orders, and try to figure out the available appointments and schedule them for the patients. Finally, another challenge that we faced was how to coordinate with the support network of the patient. This because there are a lot of friends, lots of family that wants to be up to date with the progress of the patient. But that in itself is overwhelming because you don't know how much information to share, and everyone has really good intentions and want to help, but it is difficult to coordinate who is going to do what. With that in mind, we will have liked to implement something that will present like a status update for the support network, and also provide the network with the opportunity to offer some of their time and explain the kind of help that they could provide. Because several times people is really well intended, but and they say like, "Hey, we are here for you," but we didn't actually know what they were up to, the kind of stuff that they were comfortable helping with. So having a tool that will centralize the information and coordinate who could be available for example, to take the patient to a particular appointment will have been really useful, and that's something that actually took a lot of my time. However, we didn't get to this component in this project, but it's something that we have in our minds if we continue down this route. I'm not, by the way, I'm not going to show you the actual results because it is right now it lives in a Kaggle notebook and it is a block of text at the moment. However, um, in the description of the video, I'm going to put the link to the notebook in case you want to see the end result and you want to see the kind of answers that we can get out of the generative models. I want to mention a couple of shortcuts that we had to take because of the time constraints in the project. We consider this not a finished project by any mean, but any means of imagination, but a proof of concept. With that in mind, we had to cut corners in stuff like error handling. We have to simplify our approach in every step of the way. For example, in the scheduling agent, we are only offering support for a single patient, and all the scheduling is actually happening in inside of the notebook itself. It's like we're keeping track of an array of possible appointments, and it is a fixed set of appointments. But it will be nice if we could actually connect with a external service provided by the health providers, so we can actually make the scheduling of the appointments. We also will have like to in terms of the chatting assistant, the one that is guiding the patient. It will have been nice to use a technique like fine tuning to give them the specific documents that we know are good are useful for the patient and that have been vetoed by physicians, and fine tune the model so it can respond only within the constraint of those documents. Right now, we're just sending the documents as part of the context window, and it is giving us really good results. But I think that, or we think that it will be much better if we could go through a fine tuning procedure. Another shortcut that we took is that the model evaluation that we performed was quite limited. We only evaluated, or actually my wife was working on that part of the model evaluation. She only took, I believe, like 5 or 6 different combinations of temperature and p-value to try and gauge how well the model responds. We actually go in a little more detail about that process in the blog post, which I will also link in the description. Another another shortcut that we took is that we didn't care right now about performance. There are some portions of the code that are not as efficient as it should be, and it impacts the performance of the solution. Um, in particular, when you are asking the question to a model, since we're sending all the documents as part of the context window, it takes a while. It's not too long, but it can be much better. In conclusion, we are really happy with the result, and we are really surprised about what we got out of it. The responses that we saw from the guiding from the guide tool, and also the behavior from the scheduling agent were really surprising in a mostly positive way. However, there are still challenges. On top of even though the results were good in general, we also experienced some hallucination in the models, and that's where stuff like the fine tuning and model evaluation will come by. But also, in particular, in the case of the agent, for this particular case, since we are in a more constrained environment, and, and we would like to be sure that the patient is getting the care that she needs, it will maybe be better to have a workflow based approach instead of having an agent that can do whatever it wants with the functions that we are providing. And those are like the technical challenges that we have with our implementation. But there are more, and these challenges are probably a little more complicated or hard to deal with. We need to think about patient privacy, like what kind of information we can store and what information we need to and not just what information we can store, but how to store it. There might be legal concerns, and those legal concerns can change from country to country or even jurisdiction from jurisdiction. There is a case with hallucinations and how to deal with them. There are approaches for that. That's probably one of the easiest. Eh, no, it's hard to say because we did see some really weird hallucinations, in particular for the scheduling agent. If we told him he was going to get an image, but he didn't get an image at all, he hallucinated the content of the image and just scheduled something random in a sense, which is surprising in that one in a bad way. As I mentioned before, right now we don't have access to an actual scheduling system where we can create appointments for the patients, and that is going to be a big challenge because there are multiple providers of healthcare, and they are all probably have different scheduling systems, and it is also going to be a big concern for them to provide access to a tool like this to to get access to their systems. Probably what I would like to happen is that one provider in particular sees this and likes the idea and tries to implement them for their patients, and that in itself will extend the reach of these services that help the patient to get more information and help the patients to be more effective with their appointments a lot, because only a handful of patients can actually access those kind of services at the moment. And there is also the unknown unknowns. We have been working on this for a couple of weeks. We don't actually know what other challenges might arise. as we keep working on this. However, this is a really interesting tool. GenAI have a lot of future, and we are really proud of what we were able to accomplish in a couple of weeks. That's what I had for you today. Have a good one.